Good evening, everyone. This is delicious Don Juan, the Texas treat, and you are listening to the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What is up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your very distracted host, JC. Joining me is that guy, Tommy.
Hello, I got a new sword.
Yeah. And we got Big Mike.
What's up, guys? 2025 on the road. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a Power Ranger.
Yes, you are, Tommy.
With everything
Yes,
that happened
you
this
are.
past week, and I feel like we're at the halfway point of the year, but we're really not.
Really not.
So,
It's Travis Scott's walk. It took so long that we feel like we're in June already. So
Undertaker said, hey, you want to hurry it up a bit?
I know.
Roman Reigns said, hey, can you speed this along?
Yeah. Well, yes, I say very distracted because, as you can tell, I'm a huge Colorado Avalanche fan. It is playoff time. Landeskog is back from a
You didn't even
injury.
say the full city and team name completely.
I said Colorado Avalanche. I did, didn't I?
I heard like Avalanche.
You did
Okay.
you got to speed run through it. So.
Well, I'm trying to go faster than Travis Scott here, but yes, we got a
Well, that's
first
not
round.
that hard.
I know we got a first round
I'm
matchup
going
with.
faster than him right now. Sorry.
We got a
Score's
first round
got here
matchup
faster
against
than
the
he did.
Dallas Stars, and I know there's a lot of wrestlers up in.
Oh no!
Oh, don't see your mic went out right as you were talking.
You went to the buzz.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was saying that we had a lot of wrestlers in Vegas this past week, as all eyes of the wrestling world were in Vegas. And all of our eyes were jealously watching their videos and their stories and their
Indeed.
posts as we were sitting at work like bums.
Yep.
Also,
I wasn't
Angel,
saying that, but we'll say that too. What I was
Oh,
saying,
okay.
we're playing the Dallas Stars in the first round, and to people I know in Dallas that talk a lot of shit on social media, JT LaMotta, suck it, go Avs. I hope to beat the crap off the Stars. Yeah, I know.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while, but
Yeah,
way to
him
keep
and I
it
are
to
always talking
wrestling.
shit.
No, I know.
Talking hockey shit. It's great. So
Also, Angel, you can't say I'm going to go to bed early and then call Tommy the old man. I mean, come on.
The dichotomy of that didn't go past me, but whatever.
Well-
And Jason, I would. Those are actually harder to find than you think.
Well, today we're going to talk about everything that went on WrestleMania weekend. There's a lot, and there's a lot going on this weekend as well. Quickly recap everything that went down at TNA Unbreakable, Stand and Deliver, nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania 41. And then this weekend, TNA has their first pay-per-view of the year with TNA Rebellion on Sunday. But prior to that, we get United 210 on Friday, and also on Sunday, RCW Mania. So busy weekend of wrestling. It keeps rolling on, and WWE's keeping it busy too because they only got a few weeks until Backlash. So
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's be real. What do we get through first? Everything here does Travis Scott walk to the ring? I'm sorry, that
Oh,
joke.
we'll still finish this podcast well before he gets to the ring.
I actually like
Yeah.
Travis Scott, but my God, that was annoying.
I have no desire to see him ever again in a wrestling ring.
Okay,
it
that
made no
I know
sense. It made no sense. But if the receipt was just a Crossroads, he should have just slapped the shit out of him. That would
Well,
have been a better receipt.
Don't worry. The Rock came out on the Pat McAfee show and said, none of it was his fault. He wanted to step back and give the limelight to Cena because that sounds like the kind of thing the Rock does.
We'll talk about that too. A lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of things. I'm sure we'll have some 1-minute warnings talking about stuff. Oh man, wild.
Couldn't
Anyway.
resist.
I honestly, the bit of wrestling news, I think the only thing worth mentioning is something that happened earlier today. Former NFL player, former WCW wrestler Steve Mongo McMichael passed away after a long battle with ALS. He had been hospitalized recently. Looks very, very different in recent years from the way he did in his NFL and his WCW career. Was one of the Four Horsemen, and I'll always remember him because of the Four Horsemen guys in the WCW Monday Night Wars era. He was kind of the worst one. My dad and I were always joke watching it because when Hogan turned heel, like, my dad and I kind of got back. He got back into wrestling too, watching it and seeing Michael. He's like, yeah, he can't wrestle very well. So I was like, yeah, I know.
Well, if I remember correctly, he seconded Kevin Green for Kevin Green's match, but he's the one that kind of stuck around and actually made a career, for a couple of years as wrestler. So
yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, still a memorable face in the Monday Night War era. Obviously, still wearing his Chicago Bears gear and really played that up, But rest in peace. He was, I think, in his 60s, right? I can't remember. He was fairly young. Yeah. So
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, it happened earlier today. So
also Star Wars stuff. Are you back from Japan yet?
Oh, geez.
They went to Star Wars Celebration. Several of them did.
Yeah.
So,
Terry, good to see you. Glad the injury's looking well. Hope see you swinging the softball bat again.
Yeah.
He was 67 when he passed.
67. Okay, yeah. Wow. Crazy.
But yeah, but hey, everybody. Hey, Terry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jason, Sean, Angel, Bernsey, thank you all for being here as always.
Indeed.
TD.
The worst one, but still gets a pop. Yeah, definitely does. Especially
fellow United 210 GM candidate, Hollywood TD, by the way.
Yep.
All right. Well, by the way, just fair warning, if you see a sudden outburst of me, it means something happened. I've got the game on here and everything like that. So I'll just briefly talk about stuff that went down. We'll start with Unbreakable. We have an international champion, and that is Steve Macklin. He's the inaugural TNA International Champion. Defeated Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin in the semi. Eric Young defeated Zachary Wentz and JDC in the other semi. And then Steve Macklin actually pinned AJ Francis to win the championship. And that's
like so many before him.
Yeah.
Right.
Other things in there. Moose defeated
titles.
Sidney Akeem was the open challenge there. Santana and the Hardys beat Mustafa Ali and the Nemeth brothers. Joe Hendry and Master Slamovich defeated Frank Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard. Kind of surprised by that one, actually. I think with this one being a lead into a pay-per-view, I thought they would let them.
I don't think Tessa took the pin, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And Sammy Callahan defeated Mance Warner in the Barbed Wire Massacre. So
I heard that got, obviously, but I heard Warner got kind of messed up or bloodied pretty bad.
What's interesting is that didn't open the show with the Barbed Wire Massacre. I thought it would. It actually went semi-main. So
and
it was
I think it was weirder that it was semi-main.
Yeah.
I feel like that's either first or last, right?
Yeah, it should be.
I think it'd be first because it takes so long to set the barbed wire up and then take it down. It's easier, and then you do the rest of the card. But they had it semi-main, so right before the main event.
That would have been fine to WrestleMania because the amount of ads and stuff they had to go in between matches would have had more than enough time. But you could have put in a completely new ring in that time. But
you could have just had Travis Scott's music play, and then by the time he was at the ring, it was all set up. Cody Rhodes, Travis Scott, Barbed Wire Massacre. You can
all of these jokes are valid.
They are
100%.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. On the NXT front of things, pre-show, Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley won the 4-way elimination, so they got the number one contendership for the Women's Tag Team Championships, which, as we know, on Tuesday,
Oh, no. Go ahead and finish it, because I just wanted to say one thing about the match after
Go for it.
Finish it. I was just going to say, and you mentioned this last week, Cora and Roxanne reunited just for Roxanne to kind of walk out on her, and there were several WrestleMania weekend decisions that don't look great in hindsight and kind of suck for certain people.
Don't look great in hindsight. Didn't look great when they announced it in the first place. Hindsight, execution, and original conception. These ideas were like, why?
Yeah.
And a good 3 of them involved the women's tag team titles, which is saying something when you think about it.
Right.
Let's see what else here. Ricky Saints defeated Ethan Page to retain the North American Championship.
Was that on Dynamite or on Collision?
Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver.
Oh,
funny.
okay,
I see what you did there. Yes. Especially because Ethan Page is wrestling in the main event on Rebellion this weekend.
Okay,
by the way.
real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Where do we live right now? Like, because
San Antonio.
But I mean timeline wise. This is like instead of the dumbest or the worst or the darkest, this is the weirdest timeline. Because Josh Alexander just left. Ethan Page is now back, technically with WWE, wrestling for the TNA World Title. I'm getting a headache.
Yes.
I'm getting such a headache right now.
As Austin Powers
figure it out. It's almost like one brand. I mean, hell, WWE just bought AAA for crying out loud. Like we can
Don't
talk
even
about
get me
that too.
started
Yeah,
on
I know.
that.
As Austin Powers said, I've gone cross-eyed.
I'll have some thoughts on that. I want to talk about that.
Oh, I have thoughts on that, and I don't even know if I'm the right race to discuss the problems I have with
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it. We don't get offended. So whatever Paul Heyman says at a roast, we're not going to get offended by it. Hank and Tank are the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Sol Ruca wins the ladder match for the vacant NXT Women's North American Championship. Let's see. Dark State wins a 6-man tag team match. Stephanie Vaquer retains the NXT Women's Championship, and Oba Femi retains the NXT Championship.
Can I just say also real quick, Dark State is a weird version of Disruption or whatever they're supposed to be, because
I also can't remember what their actual name
they're
is.
supposed to be like that, but then sometimes they're just in backstage segments like normal competitors, even though they run down and beat definitely the multiverse, Sean,
For sure.
and we don't know when you go across the country with WWE and such, we don't know if it's Bucky's in plays, if it's Dairy Queen, Sonics, we don't know what works there. So
Bucky's and Border Patrol checkpoints. That's basically what we got. At least that's what we know in
Still
Texas.
in Texas.
Right now.
Well, okay, in Texas.
Still in Texas. We get beyond that, it might be.
That's what they have going south, since there's no Bucky's down there.
Exactly.
Border
Patrol checkpoints.
You filled it. You filled in the blanks there, JC. Good job.
That's what it is. Until they build the Bucky's between here and Laredo, we're using the Border Patrol checkpoint 30 miles from the border. So, yep.
Is there one between here and Alamo, Texas, in the valley? I assume.
Yes, and there's one in Falfurrious, and there's one near Rainsville.
Because Saturday there's a show down there. So
yeah, Falfurrious, you'll pass that one.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Just saw Jason's
that's a
comment.
nice one too, by the way. So,
Wait,
Because I think
Tommy.
can you confirm?
I think she's like a fourth or half. Hold on.
Do I need a Steiner math diffraction here, or
Steiner math or Breaker math? Because both were pretty accurate.
Yeah.
No. Okay, no. Her dad's like
Okay.
Paul A. Hampton. Really? I honestly didn't remember who it was.
To quote Undercover Brother, blackness confirmed. You got soul.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So she can
and,
do.
And for the record, her dad couldn't be blacker. He was the creator of a ska band. like her dad is like he's blackety black blackety black.
But Sol Ruca can get into the brotherhood with the handshake thing. So
she could quite easily, as a matter of fact. Matter of fact, I didn't know her blackness because I remember that someone saying she was. I didn't know.
I think I was confusing her with who's the other one? No. Like I'm not joking.
I know it's just funny. Immediately.
Who's the other one who has like the knee problems in NXT that was there for a while?
Nikita?
Yeah, Nikita Lyons.
Yeah.
Which I thought was something similar. Not that I confused them, but like their backgrounds. I think they were similar stuff I heard.
But oh, I didn't. Wow. Okay. Wow. Sorry. I knew her dad was black, but I didn't know she was that black. Damn.
I'm with Jason on this one. That's just hilarious.
But you see what I'm saying, right? When you like someone's level of blackness, it's like damn, you. I didn't know you was black. Like it's like so.
Yeah.
Which explains a lot, by the way. But moving on.
All right. Well, of course, NXT Stand and Deliver was the pre-show for the WrestleMania pre-show, which, by the way, had some newsworthy things. And I'll preface this by saying, Saturday my daughter got invited to go play in a tournament in Seguin, turned into an all-day thing. But that's another story. But I'm getting alerts on my phone as news is coming in, and there's a few coaches there on this team that are also wrestling fans. So when the news broke that AAA had been purchased by WWE, mixed reaction, but kind of cool in this sense. One of which is a big fan of wrestling in Mexico. He goes there a lot, loves luchadors, and he's really like, hey, maybe we'll get some real luchadors in WWE now. You know, not just some of like the mainstays, but like we've got Penta, we got Phoenix. Let's bring some of these other guys in too as well. So
okay, I mean, I get what you said. I was like, it's like some real luchadors. I was like, the only fake one I know of is Grand Americano.
Yeah, but I mean, like some more of like the homegrown like Mexican talent, like not just the ones that they pick and choose, so to speak, in history.
Like Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, not well. He's already gone.
He's
apparently.
in AAA. Well, he's suspended.
Suspended. I heard fired. I don't know. Released. Suspended.
Okay. I heard he was still under contract. So
I've heard mixed things. Either suspended or they've let him go. So I'm not sure.
He's probably let go now.
Yeah. Also, from what I've heard, and granted I don't follow AAA, CMLL seems to be the one that actually holds more to true lucha traditions, AAA has been much more WWE-esque in their storylines and stuff.
Yeah.
Vampiro was also a big player there for a while, doing crazy stuff. So I'm sure WWE is going to spin it like they are the long traditional lucha libre company, but I don't think that's always been true or is currently true all the time.
No, because they really weren't until they came to like the '97 Rumble in San Antonio. We got a bunch of luchadors in that. Remember that, So, but I think what he's excited about is maybe we're going to see a little bit of that cross brand. It's going to bring a lot more light onto what goes on in Mexico. Now, granted, I know that other people are talking. Well, they're going to call it NXT Mexico. I hope not. Keep the AAA name, the tradition. There's a lot of brand recognition with that. You can add a WWE logo in there somewhere. But the reason I say don't do it, because NXT UK didn't work out very well. When you start rebranding stuff like that, it just
they're already planning the rise and fall of AAA. So
for real.
Down the road, Triple H is going to beat El Hijo de Blue Demon in some sort of WrestleMania match. Also, a little off topic, but yeah, I've heard this was ridiculous. And
I saw a video where a woman ran into Randy Orton and his wife at the hotel.
Oh, I saw part of this.
Gracious, and she mentioned she spent $5,000 on tickets. It's like, where were you sitting? Like in the lower bowl. They weren't even on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's one, that's WrestleMania, and two, that's Vegas. I am not surprised.
I also heard it's Ticketmaster's like progressive pricing or something. Like they basically just jack up prices as it's.
They do.
And for all we know, that may not even be the face value of the ticket. That might have been they bought it, and whoever was reselling it, because now Ticketmaster wants a market on that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fair. I mean, I wouldn't know, but
I mean, a good amount if you go where the bargains are. I mean, Vegas.
We'll take your word for it.
I can't.
Oh, there you go, Jason. That's the more specific one.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch it. Might relive some of it. I really hope they do a thing about his restaurant that didn't work out very well here.
I never got to try it. I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Really for the chance to see Paige. But.
Mm-hmm. Well, on to WrestleMania itself. Now, obviously, we can break this down two different ways, obviously, between night one and night two. Night one, I think it's fair to say the opening and the main event and Charlotte losing were fantastic. Everything else in between is a little mediocre. Whereas night two had everything great, but then the main event has gotten a little mixed reviews. People were kind of, what was that? And I personally think that's genius. I think it's genius the way they did it in a way. But we'll start with night one. Match of the night. Can we all agree it was the main event with Rollins, Punk, and Roman?
Yeah, that was they for as still as much as I disagree with its position, the fact that they pulled off what they pulled off was pretty awesome.
And Tommy, I know you popped for the CM Punk video beforehand, even though you've had your issues with him.
I did.
The starting with the piano of This Fire Burns and then mixing his old promo in with his new, like him saying it as it was a good video package for him.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, and you mentioned using his original WWE song as well, which was great. That old footage. And, I'm glad they made a big deal about him finally getting his WrestleMania main event. It's great. He's earned it, deserved it. But damn, we talked about this? I think I mentioned it. Like, hey, Rollins is going to win. Heyman's going to be walking out with them. There's going to be some sort of double heel turn, but not the way you expect. And it laid out perfectly the way it happened. So it was amazing. The storytelling, all of that. Aside from that match, Uso defeating Gunther opened the show. Great choice to get the crowd going. Obviously, they made that decision after we had broadcast last week. So,
yep.
And I love one of the memes that's come out of that is wrestlers being like, if Gunther can tap at WrestleMania, you can tap at your local indie show.
I saw that a lot. That's
you're not too good to tap out. I was like, yeah.
What do you think about that decision? Having it be a tap out finish?
I'd rather have him passed out personally, but
so people have said that, but he hasn't lost a lot. And two of his losses, he did the same thing apparently with Dragunov in their NXT match, where he got caught in the sleeper and tapped out super quick. So, I mean, to me, I kind of give respect to Gunther because it makes Jay, it makes Uso look really good. I don't think it's going to hurt Gunther in the long run. After he lost to Cody at the Saudi Money Super King of the Ring Champion of Champions, whatever the hell it was called, they turned that into a storyline for a short period of time where he had lost his confidence, and then he got it right back. And by the time we got to WrestleMania, everyone was expecting him to kill Jay, and they were like, "There's no way Jay could beat him." Right? I don't think it'll hurt him. Also, I'm also a huge Gunther fan because he choked out Pat McAfee. And if we can get Pat McAfee off my TV for the next 6 months, I'll be down because that dude just overexposed himself, and I cannot stand him anymore. As a WWE announcer now, it's just over the top. It hasn't been good since his first run, and yeah.
Well, it looks like we're gonna get Gunther and McAfee at Backlash. It looks like what they seem to be setting up.
I mean, if he wants to beat him up too, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Interesting. That is pretty cool. Well, like I said, you never know what goes on in Vegas, but
and I like Living Color. I wish I'd have been there for
a
that.
free concert on the
Fremont.
Yeah,
I saw someone post about that.
That is awesome.
The night before or whatever.
I don't know because I don't see Cole stepping in the ring. Maybe he'll be ringside with Pat McAfee, but I don't know if I see him in the ring.
There's no need for Cole to ever get back.
I don't think Cole wanted to do that in the first place. I think
he probably did. That was definitely a Vince thing.
Yeah,
but I like the story where a little bit of like, okay, him taking issue with what he was saying at WrestleMania is like, and Cole saying, "I'm not going to keep this guy from let me do my job," and that was a pretty cool moment on
that was
Raw.
pretty cool.
That part of
yeah. Any other matches? Oh yeah, Charlotte Flair losing to Tiffany Stratton. Thank God for that.
Yep.
Best WrestleMania ever. Just for that. How fantastic was that? I think everyone was pretty excited to see that. Like, it was just an issue of WWE listening to the fan reaction and saying, okay, we got to stick with Tiffany here.
Although if you listen to Karrion Kross, they don't always do that. But
Yeah, well, he's not wrong.
Don't let him work you into a shoot, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to counter by saying your hatred for one wrestler made you love this WrestleMania as much as my love for another wrestler made me slightly sour on it. But we'll talk about that in night 2.
I'm assuming I know where you're going with this, and I did want to bring that up when we talked about night 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. What? Let's see.
King of the Freaks is having fun with stuff that's going on WrestleMania week. So 20 pounds of crawfish, go for it.
Yeah, Charlotte's getting stale on everybody, so interesting to see where they move from here.
Seriously.
All right, night 2. They made the announcement during night 1 that the women's.
JC, you went out again.
Went out again.
They made the announcement on night 1 that the women's tag team championship. I assume he's going to say that. And now you froze, JC. I think. No, there you go. Okay, I thought you froze too. Damn.
I think they did make the announcement night 1 that Bayley wouldn't be at night 2.
Yeah. In fact, it might have even been early.
It was during the pre-show.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say.
What
I was mainly saying was they made the announcement that the triple threat for the women's world championship was going to open night 2.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm 0 for 2 for assuming or guessing what you're about when your thing buzzes.
That's fine. But we can talk about the Bayley decision here. There was an attack during the pre-show, right? That's what they showed footage of, and then. Okay, now we have to find a partner for Lyra Valkyria. What's it going to be? Now, Mike, this news comes out. I obviously what is your reaction to this? And prefaces by saying, I assume you've seen snippets of the interview that she did with.
I watched the whole thing, and honestly, I'd like to save some of that.
Okay.
For 1 minute.
For my 1 minute warning, 100%. But I'll say this as far as the WrestleMania thing. Obviously, it sucks because I'm a huge Bayley fan. There's a possibility with what happens through to Monday Night Raw that she can insert herself back into the story once her injury has healed. But it seems really, and I have a feeling that honestly part of it was Bayley doing it to help Lyra and such, but to do the whole story where she goes after the IC title, they have great matches, but then they decide to team together, go through a tag team gauntlet on SmackDown or on Raw, whatever it was, get their title match, and then night one, oh, your partner's injured, find another partner. And I get it because WWE's gotten to the point, and I don't say that they've gotten to the point, I guess they've always been like this in a way, where they're more worried about the big moment than the storyline.
Karrion Kross.
But yeah, so obviously I'm not a fan of the decision at all. And I'm not even by any means a hater of the person who takes her place. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know, for that to happen.
Is it kind of a waste of a moment? Like she returns, they win the tag titles, they lose them the next night, and then she turns on Lyra and goes heel. Like,
I don't know if it's a waste of a moment because in that sense, it's no different than when we saw Zack Ryder win the IC title and then the next night he loses it. I mean, for us, that moment lives in infamy, and you can't take it away from him. For Becky, she's going to be a heel now and still be one of the top draws on the roster for what that's worth. So. They knew she was going to get a pop when she came back. I assume that's part of it, but I also assume she wants to be heel. So I don't know. It sucks for Bayley, obviously, in what it was. And yeah, Sean, I was kind of thinking the same thing. And this also kind of connects me, like they like, or Hunter or whoever likes reusing similar storylines from Raw to SmackDown, and in certain matches. I don't know if you noticed that certain matches had almost the exact same finish. So I don't know.
Okay. Do we know if the Bayley the injury is legit? Is she taking time off? Which it would suck if she.
No, it's 100% storyline.
It's 100% storyline.
Okay.
Which makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Karrion Kross thing. Is this they're building some stable of people frustrated with management?
I think it could become that. I am not at all convinced that's the story going in. I think that I think he did a worked shoot promo, honestly. Now. Mm-hmm. And
gauging fan reaction, see where they can build from it, kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, I honestly think it was a like a worked shoot, and but it was still true. It was pipe bomb just in a smaller space.
I want to say it to me. I almost felt like Triple H or whoever's in charge was like, "All right, go ahead. We'll see what happens." Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it was a world-class promo. Mm-hmm. Like and I think he was allowed to say things, but I think all those things were 100% from the heart, from what he really felt. What I miss?
Kate.
Yeah. Tommy Schmidt.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't even watch wrestling, but if Kate doesn't watch wrestling, but if there's one thing that she lives for, it's drama. Sadly, this also includes her own. I have several stories. Anyway,
but what I find interesting is Karrion Kross has tried so hard to get things over, to get his character over, and for the most part, his time on the main roster, the fans in general just haven't connected to it. He's never really got over when he had his stable. They try these things where, he's talking to this person backstage. 3 months later, they turn on their partner, and it's because of what he said. But it seems like it's this long-term storytelling, but it never really connects, or they never build on it. So I feel like this was like, okay, we'll let you try this. We'll see what we can get out of it. That's the way I
social media following it gets. How people react to it and see where they go from here.
Well, my thing is it's not so much that the stories don't connect. They just never build on anything. They start a story with him, and then
I saw it.
Yeah.
Damn it, Kate. And they start a story with him, and then they never go anywhere with it because I sometimes think they forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like he's done this thing where he's talked to a lot of people backstage, like pissed them off, and there was this thing where he mimics the hairstyle of who he's talking to. Like recently when he talked to AJ Styles, he had AJ's long, straight hair. A while ago, right before the Big E thing with New Day, he was talking to New Day, and he had like Austin Creed, Woods' haircut, Xavier Woods' like hairstyle.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a cool thing, but like nothing ever built on it. Nothing ever, like they never made it a story. So I feel like it's him working his ass off to try to get things working, and they just don't go with it, or they don't do it.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll talk about this when we finish our WrestleMania discussion. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
a few opinions on that for sure.
Yeah, but no.
As far as the rest of the night, Io Sky retaining, great match. Drew McIntyre defeating Damian Priest. Funny, he's doing the Twitter thing again, which is hilarious. Dominic Mysterio, none of us picked it, but Tina, she said she definitely called it. Dom's so much for that defeated streak for Dominic Mysterio. I'm so pissed off. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But for all the pop Becky got, it does not compare to the pop Joe Hendry got being the opponent for Randy Orton. That was probably the loudest the crowd was the entire weekend for WrestleMania on either night. I would argue that's the loudest it got.
I think it's between Hendry and Dominic winning. I don't know. The Dominic got pretty big there.
I don't know. It feels like Heyman got some good pops when he betrayed everybody.
Yeah, he did. But 60,000 people singing your theme song and waving their hands. True. I mean, it was fantastic. Seeing all the reactions from that.
Angel went to sleep already. Too late.
Yeah, Terry, I agree with that. But Hendry was hell of a surprise. I'd said Nick Aldis. You said Jeff Cobb. I want to say you said Solo Tommy. And I went back and watched their show last week. I remember I talked about this, and I said, "What if it's Joe Hendry?" And you were like, Michael's like, "Nah, no way. Like they couldn't do that." And then the day before, I was at that tournament with my daughter. I was like, you know what? Maybe Joe Hendry will be the guy. He's going to be the guy to surprise. And was talking with the coach for the team my daughter was playing with, and sure enough, he comes out. That message from Mike on our group chat, yes. And then I'm texting. But the coach was like, called it, and it was just awesome pop. The reaction, my son's going crazy. Just a fantastic moment. What world are we living in where the current TNA World Champion is on WrestleMania wrestling Randy Orton, guys?
No, what are you talking about? He got buried. It was a total disrespect to TNA.
He came out, got buried immediately, and just that kind of thing.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah,
God.
I mean, I think about this. Poor Joe Hendry. This poor guy went out there in front of hundreds of thousands, or like 100,000 there, and then like millions of people watching around the world.
I was about to say, calm down, Hogan. You're making the attendance too big.
Well, but fair enough. But he went out there. People now know what he looks like, heard his theme song, and probably made so many more fans. And he went up against one of the greatest of all time, Randy Orton. Man, when you put all that together, they might as well have had him on the pre-show. The other people just didn't watch it. That's all I'm saying. So,
and then I think it was him on an interview brought up a good point. He was like, in front of 60,000 people, and then he did or someone put it like, Orton mimics his.
He said it on NXT to Kemi and.
That's what it was. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah,
because he showed up, and then he shows up on NXT, getting involved with that. Like, let's not forget, he's got to defend his title this weekend. He's throwing his name in the half of the NXT championship.
Wait, who is he defending against? You called it. You said it earlier.
Ethan Page and Kazarian, right?
Kazarian and Ethan Page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do love that he roasted the hell out of both of them. He said, "Yeah, I was in the ring with Randy Orton in front of all the people while you were watching from the stands," and I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
Not wrong.
That's one of those damn.
Let me tell you how excited my son is for this weekend's match. He's been listening to Joe Hendry's theme song, and he's also been listening to "Put On Your Clothes." If you don't remember, that was when Hendry first wrestled Ethan Page back in TNA. He made his song, "Ethan, Put On Your Clothes." It's on Spotify, Apple Music.
Is it really?
I didn't. If you search Joe Hendry on this stuff, you will find it. Like all his stuff is on there, and it's in there. Hilarious.
Oh, that's hilarious! Because I know dating back to his time in England, and that was like his thing of just making themes for all his opponents, and
He actually records it and puts it on there. It's like he streams off of it. Yeah,
there it is.
Because of Cultaholic, I've heard a lot of them, but that's great.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this too was here was a guy who indie built, obviously, kind of came in TNA and no one really thought much of him, but he built himself up, got himself over, got so popular, and now he's on WrestleMania, and he's not even officially signed to the company. So it's. And hearing that Triple H told him this is not going to be the last time you're here.
It's like
amazing.
And for what it's worth, you could have put a solo. I heard at one point there was a talk of Jeff Hardy had been brought up, all these different things. None of that would have meant as much as what you got out of this.
True.
Yeah.
What it means for Hendry, what the I mean, Jeff Hardy would have gotten a huge pop, and there's obviously like the Orton Jeff history, but I don't know. To me, this was great. I loved it.
It puts him over. It puts more eyes on TNA. Hell, I know they briefly showed Orton's reaction when he came out, but someone had a fan video where they just recorded Orton the whole time, and his face was like, "Wow!" Like,
he was looking at the crowd, right?
Yeah, like holy crap, So,
I think when you get a guy like Hendry, and you figure like you've heard some stuff about it, you've heard like some buzz about him and everything like that, and like. Hearing about it is one thing, then seeing it take place in front of you is another.
Yeah.
So, Oh, and real quick, I am going to say that Kate, while not a wrestling fan, once upon a time she wasn't an anime fan either, and me and a friend of mine got her into watching a couple of those. So
how could you, Tommy?
Because you don't know what she does to me on a regular basis. If the revenge I get is making her,
so. Yeah.
But the revenge I get on her is making her a wrestling fan and an anime fan, then I've done something right. So, and I will have my vengeance. Anyway.
All right. Let's see here. Logan Paul defeats AJ Styles. We talked about Lyra and Becky Lynch winning the titles only to lose them the next day.
Made no sense.
Finally, John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Can we go back to talking about Logan Paul?
Yeah, I'd rather talk about that. Actually.
About him doing Joe Hendry's thing backstage too. By the way, they did that on social media. By the way, I don't know if you have seen.
I don't care about
it.
Shut up, Kate.
I think the genius of this is Cena had said, "I'm gonna make you hate wrestling again."
No, don't do this, JC. Please don't do this. You don't do that at the main event of WrestleMania. Do not. No.
That's why it's genius heel.
No, don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, he's old. He can't go the way he used to. And last year at WrestleMania, you had Avengers Endgame for Cody and Roman.
Okay.
And now this is like the multiverse without a direction, and Travis Scott is Kang, and
again, Kang didn't work out so very well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if he gets in some legal trouble, shit's gonna happen.
So no, I'm sorry, JC, but I'm serious. I'm not going to buy this. He's trying to ruin wrestling for the main event of WrestleMania. For this crap, this was about him getting number 17. This is so they could shout. Do you remember the Europe tour of Raw and SmackDown? Where he's like, I'm the bad guy, I don't care about you. And he still came out with a Cena in London, Cena in whatever city they were at. Like, I'm not going to buy that. I'm
they
sorry.
Had to sell him. I get that.
I'm not going to buy he's a genius. I'm not going to give Triple H credit on this one. Not at all.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, there was no colorful graphic of him coming out. It was just his name with a black background.
No, that part I get.
Yeah.
Part of him not giving the fans what they want, I get. But I'm not going to buy this like, oh, the match was actually crafted by a genius because he said I'm going to ruin wrestling. I'm not going to buy that.
That's just the way I see it. It pissed me off. Believe me, it pissed me off that this is your 2-night WrestleMania in Vegas. It wasn't going to top last year. It just wasn't.
No,
it's like every 10 years is when they have the big WrestleManias, right? Well, now we're almost like resetting, if you will.
Okay.
So
it wasn't going to top last year's. That's true. Here's the problem.
It didn't have to suck.
That's okay. Here's the second problem.
Cody barely got any offense. That's the problem I had with it.
Yeah. Here's the third problem. I was trying to stop in one, and y'all keep bringing up good points. But it's like, it wasn't okay. because I don't know if you guys watched the Chisel Adonis video I sent you with him talking about this. To me, the problem, it was never going to be last year's. You're right. But this is to me like, let's use the MCU analogy again. And instead of calling last year's Endgame, let's call it the first Avengers movie. Let's say it's like the first Avengers.
Okay.
This to me could have been Winter Soldier. If you know what I mean. It's like it still could have been good, just not as epic in scale.
That was night
Winter
one.
Soldier is one of the best movies in the MCU.
Yeah, but I'm saying like following immediately after the first Avengers is what I'm saying. Like the first Avengers was like that was kind of game changing in what they pulled off, and then Winter Soldier came along, and then was almost neck and neck with it because of how great it was.
I love that video. I'm sorry. I should spell that out. Go ahead. Sorry.
Damn it, Kate. Anyway, by the way, when she was my boss, I said that more often than you think I did. The words "damn it, Kate" could have been uttered from me at any point. We were working together. But it's like you could have still made this epic in its own way, and you could have even had things that hid Cena's flaws. You could have had people interfere on The Rock's behalf. You could have had people that like The Rock paid to who he got their souls or whatever dumb thing he said to Cody before. I just don't see why they didn't try to make this more fun. You could have had Cena win. I actually don't. Actually, the result to me is secondary. It's like, how was the match?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I felt like once Cena announced his last year, and they set this in court, like there was no way he was not going to win.
Right.
I feel like Cena would win. Ends involve first winning the title, then losing. No. But
does he lose it right before he walks off in the sunset? And he's no
longer but like this, and also like his bad guy stick is like it's not convincing. And then like afterwards, and like even at the press conference, oh, y'all bullied me into getting it. I was like, I can't take him seriously because yes, fans were crapped him for a long time, but we had to watch him for a long time. We had to watch Super Cena beat all the odds for a long time. They're kind of giving their treatment to Cody Rhodes because as much as you said Cody didn't get a lot of offense in, the amount of Super AA Avalanche things he kicked out of, I'm like, also like, come on. But he did that with Roman last year too, so.
He kicked out of this and that, but then he loses because he can't kick out of getting hit with the belt. Yeah. Like, that I can agree with. Like,
so yeah. I think, I don't know, to me, I also think it has something to do with The Rock because I know someone said it earlier. I don't remember if it was King of Freaks or someone about his stupid interview. And I mentioned it earlier where he's like, oh, actually, I washed my hands of this and said, you guys go ahead and finish this off. Like they just needed the final boss at Elimination Chamber. No, this whole storyline revolved around you.
Yeah.
It goes back to last year. Then it comes to Netflix where all of a sudden you're friends with Cody again. Then you go on interviews and you try to go in and out of this final boss character. And then the whole thing was you wanted Cody's soul and he wouldn't sell it, but Cena sold it. And then after that, Cena didn't have that to play off of. They never mentioned The Rock again. I think they mentioned it like once after that. And then it was all about Cena. And I know we all wanted Cena to turn heel a long time ago. And so a lot of people, when he initially did that, thought this was going to be awesome. But I also think it's a mistake to do it in his final run when the fans are going to want to love him anyways. Because clearly there's a generation below this. And I say this also following the social media of a lot of the wrestlers that we know that are like younger than us and love Cena. And everyone seemed hyped that he won his 17th title. And that's cool. Like that's for you guys. For me, I'm not. What I saw was a Cena that's a step or two way too slow. The match didn't have a lot of flow. It was crap, and I'm not invested in the story. Like the Orton thing was cool on Monday, and I will give Cena. He still good at some of the things he does, like saying shit right as Orton hits the RKO on the mic.
That was 100%.
But
if they wrestle at Backlash, is it going to be the finish that it was years ago when Orton purposely slapped the referee to keep the title?
That's what I heard, and they probably will, because you know how Triple H loves his long-term booking and storytelling and connecting back to old things. So I have a feeling it'll be something like that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say Cena will get himself disqualified to save the title.
Wherever they go with this, I think his last match has to be Orton. That's a long rivalry.
Not Punk. And
I wouldn't mind it, but I don't know if they'll put the title on Punk.
No.
Punk wants the title.
Okay, you're talking about the person to finally take it off him.
Take it off him.
I see what you're saying, and there's definitely the long rivalry, but I feel like they're doing that now because I still feel in the end it's going to be Cody who takes it back from him. I could be wrong, and we could be somewhere else down the road, story-wise at that point, because it's crazy how on one side the new Rollins group with Heyman and that storyline is awesome, and I can't wait to see where that goes.
Yeah,
and this one, I mean, there's a nostalgia of Orton Cena, although let's not lie, by the end of that rivalry in the first run, were we not like, I don't need Orton Cena 79? We've seen this enough. So I mean, it's fair that they're different places, right? So I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. But I
mean, we'll get that. We'll probably you think if we think Cody's going to get it back, do we think that happens at SummerSlam or Survivor Series? Because they did make a point to announce Survivor Series is in San Diego this year, at Petco Park. Which, if they're going to make it War Games, I got to figure out how they're going to do that. December, he says his last run. Do you thinking maybe it's Punk Cena to finish it off in December? Is that what you're thinking?
I feel like that would be bad, but I also feel like Cena might turn face again before.
I heard he's supposed to.
I mean, it would make sense. You got to go out that way, right? You know? So, yeah.
So what if Rollins and his new super group with Heyman start attacking, and then he actually helps whoever it may be at the end? I don't know. There's a lot of ways you can go with that, but I'm not buying it the way it is right now. The match was crap. That was such a flat ending for me. Mm-hmm. A lot of people loved it. Cena was getting cheered in the arena. Again, a lot of people are posting they're hyped that he got his 17th. Although the other thing that pisses me off, and this goes back to I know he was told to, Cole wow, well now it's undisputed. Now Cena's the GOAT of wrestling. He's the greatest of all time. And I'm like, shut up, Cole.
No, because all AEW has to do is hey, come win the title, Ric Flair. What if he's the guy that beats Moxley, right? You know? I'm just saying.
Don't give Tony ideas.
He'll do it. He'll do it.
No, I don't think he will.
He might. I mean, cool. You beat him in Have you beat him in divorces? We're working on that, right, John?
Wow.
Wow.
Nikki Bella said, "Whoa."
To Ric Flair's credit, he did send a congratulatory message. Cool, and then
did he or did his people?
Doesn't matter. It seems like it came from him, But you make a point to say, people follow him on social media, people love him. I think the crowd was almost trying to work a whole Rock, Hogan, Cena, Rhodes thing at this WrestleMania, which I think that's a missed opportunity there. Cena and Rhodes could have stopped and really milked that to see where the crowd was gauging it, because we got that at WrestleMania 18, 19, wherever it was.
18.
Where
it was 18,
19, yeah. And maybe you could have done that here, right? I mean, obviously, WrestleMania crowds, people are going to come. I think part of it is we had the build up through Europe, and so when they finally came to the U.S., the crowds had different views, and we're getting that crowd at WrestleMania who's going to cheer for whoever the hell they like. They were cheering for Dom because Dom has been such a great heel. They wanted him to get his title, Cena because people love Cena. They love heel Cena. Cena's finally a heel, so Flair was. See, I'm not the only one that thought that thing.
No, but don't curse us with that. Also, one other quick thing. I saw this quote a post, and I was like, "Oh crap, it's so true." They said Dominic Mysterio is the heel that Logan Paul thinks he is.
That is so true,
right? Because
oh my god, yeah.
Dom did have the go away death heat for a long time. But you realize he was genuine, and as you saw him in real life, in backstage stuff, he was kind of in character, but you could see he was a really good dude who was working. Logan Paul is a go away heat, and he's just a huge douche, and he's not a good guy behind the cameras either. So 100%, I saw that and I was like, yeah.
Okay, So
Cena
this
back
question,
to face.
who would turn a face? Here's the way I view it. Think Ring of Honor, Summer of Punk. Think that storyline where Punk signs his WWE contract after winning the ROH title on the title and says, I'm going to leave. And every match you watched that whole summer is Punk going to lose? Is Punk going to lose? Is Punk going to lose? You can milk that. Every title match Cena has from now until December, who's going to take it off? Who's going to take it off him? And when Punk finally lost the title, he was, okay, you know what? He was a face before his last ROH match. He was a face and everything. I think Tommy can recognize this as well. Punk went out of ROH as a face. He left ROH as a face. He had, passed the title on, put whoever with the next in line. I forget who it was that eventually beat him for it.
James Gibson.
Yeah. He put him over, and then he was a face, had his last match, got cheered as he went on. You can do that with Cena this whole year, like basically this whole summer. It's turning into summer almost. Who's gonna, he's gonna wrestle Orton. Will Cody win it back? Who else is gonna challenge him for it? Who's gonna be the one to take it off him? Because Cena's already threatening, I'm the forever champion. You're gonna have to start a new lineage when I leave. I'm leaving with the title forever. I'm not giving it up. When he finally does lose it, then he finally has that just face turned out to be somebody. He can just say, I won my last match. I'm picking my opponent for a great career, and then that's it. You can kind of do something similar with Cena on that respect.
Yeah. The only thing, and then I guess another thing I don't like about the way he was trying to, like Cena himself was trying to say it, like, I'm going to take this title, I'm going to leave, and then you're going to make a new title, but I'm going to be the last champion of this title. I was like, that's
like I'm
not
taking
how
the lineage with me. But
right, like I was like, that doesn't, like when Punk took the title, Mysterio won it, and then Superface Cena said, "Hey, Mysterio, who just fought in a tournament tonight, can I have a match so I can win that title from you, tired luchador?" Yeah. And then somehow he was still a face, but they didn't say, "Oh, well, the lineage that Punk took." That's not like, I know what he's trying to do, but I don't know. Because I'm just tired of him, I'm like, I don't buy it.
Yeah. Well,
hey, King of Freaks, you had me going in the first half there. Well, I thought I thought he was talking about me because I was criticizing Logan Paul, but then he's like, "No, I want him to go away." Okay, yeah,
Logan heat, yeah, for sure. He's got go away heat for sure. Cena Bill tension Dom and Finn, yeah, for sure.
No, what are you talking about, Ted? There's no tension between them. Just because Dom pinned him, not a chance. They're best friends.
It's not like on Raw that Finn was completely shocked that JD helped him win. No.
And Ted, that's also important on Raw because JD is like Finn's literal protege.
Yeah,
and they're both Irish and stuff. But so that's
so the joke came to me immediately with Finn's attitude with Dom. It's like saying, what? The person you cheated with is helping you cheat with is now cheating on you? Say it ain't so.
No. Although that's another thing. Triple H slow burns breakups, right? Remember how long?
There are so many jokes there that I was going to make.
Well, okay, okay. Just in terms of wrestling storylines, A-Town Down Under was supposed to break up forever. I don't think they technically still have. Frazier and Axiom were supposed to break up forever. Never happened. The Judgment Day is supposed to be breaking up. He kind of sometimes most of the time now, way too long. But
like both bad relationships, they hang on way too
toxic.
Long. Yeah.
All right. Cool. How did our pick results go? Well, Tommy went 3-4 night 1, 1-5 night 2.
I did abysmally.
I went 6-1 night 1, but then 1-5 night 2. Mike just tearing it up. 6-1 night 1, 5-1 night 2. So overall, Tommy went 4-9. I went 7-6. Mike went 11-2 on WrestleMania.
Can I be called Mr. WrestleMania until next year now?
I don't care.
Guess. So, yeah. So just polar opposites. Like, okay, I did pretty good night 1. Night 2 comes around. God, I sucked. So, Mike's
wow.
So, what's up?
Sorry, JT's comment.
Wow.
Only because, and I might mention this later, but there was a interesting comment in the interview
I didn't even see
that Bailey,
that
Bailey made. Basically, she wants to do everything in wrestling, things like tag teams, being in factions, being singles, and things she hasn't done. She mentioned romantic storyline.
So when is your plane ticket?
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot what chat I put it in. Maybe I thought it was to both of y'all, but I think I put. So I just heard this on the interview. I am now going into the office to quit my job and fly down to the PC to start training. So
Mike, tell the truth. Your tickets for in the morning. This is your last WrestleCast, isn't it?
no, it's online. I can do this from Florida.
Okay.
What are you talking about? I think NXT the PC training ends before like hybrid does, so I should be good.
All right. Well, I really hope that romantic storyline with Bailey works out for you. Yeah, I'll be praying for that one. So
Hilarious.
WrestleCast ratings for the weekend 0 to 5, 5 being.
Are we doing it night by night or the whole thing or?
We could do night by night and then do an average if you want. So
Ugh, that makes it harder.
0 being.
Well, which way do y'all want to do it? Do you just want to do one overall rating?
I had an
I think
overall rating. but-
Okay.
Either way, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and then we'll go from there. So, but Tommy, we can start with you. What's your rating? 5 being WrestleMania 17, 0 being December to Dismember.
Honestly, man, with some of the decisions, I can't lie. I think the following night kind of messed some things up for me in my head. I'll give it a 3.75 overall.
Right.
I get some decisions and I understand some of them, but there are some things I'm just like, no, just no. So 3.75 for me.
Okay. I'm gonna do this way. Night 1 for me was a 4.
Okay.
Nothing fancy, whatever. Night 2 for me was a 4.5.
Wow.
I was looking pretty good up until the main event, honestly. So overall rating for WrestleMania for me is a 4.25. So that's what I give it. What? Did I miss a comment? What's going on?
No, what's he just posted?
Damn it, Kate!
That's how my last date rated me.
Okay.
I think she meant my rating specifically, but
Yeah.
okay.
Either way, it's funny.
And
for the-
that's
for-
not
for-
that bad. Yeah.
For the record, some of her dating stories, we should have a podcast just about those. But honestly, I don't want that because I'm trying to make a book out of it.
I'm sure. Okay, I was like, I'm sure Ted could
Okay,
use
yeah.
content. I don't know where dating Geekcast falls, but I'm sure there's.
Sure, I can fill it under the Island of Reality podcast. If
Well,
you
there
want
you
to
go.
look out. Yeah. So, all right, Mike, what is your rating? How are you going to do this? Night 1, night 2, and then overall, what are you going to do?
Could I just take certain matches out and give? Because honestly, like on night
It's
2,
not Wisconsin. You can't lie. on
No,
detail
I know.
here, okay. Yeah,
But we didn't even go in depth to the women's triple threat to kick it off, which was a fantastic match.
really
Yeah,
well.
that was
Rhea, Bianca, and Io. The street fight between Priest and McIntyre was
Yeah.
ridiculous again.
Get another selfie.
And I mean, I know you kind of said that night 2 was just chugging along really great until the end, and it was. I think overall, I'm going to go with a 4.5 because I really loved the night 1 main event. I've said this before on this WrestleCast. I really think that Seth Rollins should be included in the conversation when we talk about the best wrestlers in the world right now. And I'm talking about when people talk about Omega, when they were talking about Bryan Danielson, when they're talking about, all those guys, not just the biggest star, the best in-ring person. I don't think he ever quite gets the credit he deserves because he's really damn good in the ring. So, we both said that we thought that he would wind up with Heyman, and I think it's good for him.
I do too.
I think, kind of a run where he's like the focus, and now that he's got the muscle and the heater and Braun Breaker, which down the line, be it a year, whatever, eventually it's going to be Braun wanting to take power, and then that's going to set up a whole thing, which is another great thing. So, based on that women's triple threat, based on the street fight, based on Jey Uso, there was a lot of solid matches. And again, some of the other ones, like a lot of the other matches, like night one matches weren't horrible. Some of them didn't feel WrestleMania level to me. But I guess for me, the strength was literally the end of night one into most of night two.
The ending of night one got you excited about night two. It really did.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
So for a lot of that, I'll give it a little bit higher, even though that main event. Oh,
I know.
Night two main event.
Overall, that puts us at a 4.166. If you're in the chat, if you haven't already, go ahead and share. What are your ratings?
Round to the hundreds, people. No,
yeah, right. All right. Well,
yeah, JT, I agree. It's definitely a second win for him. I can't wait to see this. Well, I also like the memes. Literally just Saturday night into Sunday of what Paul Heyman would look like now that he has to dress like Seth, supposedly. Those are some great memes.
God, that's hilarious.
Well, you mentioned this new stable: Heyman, Seth, Breaker.
For now,
who else are they going to add? Who else could they add? You know,
I saw people because they were comparing it to Evolution, saying Austin Theory, but I'm going to go with a no on that one.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to say anyone yet. I want to see these two just for a while. Oh, actually, okay. I had a crazy idea, and again, it's kind of based off stuff from the interview that I'll talk a little bit more in depth in the 1 minute warning. But I had this crazy idea of, since Becky turned heel on Monday Night Raw, she assumes that she's like in with them, gets attacked by Bayley, Seth okays it, and then Bayley's a top woman's heel with Heyman's group.
That'd be wild.
Because then you get Seth's nuclear heat for turning on his wife, literally, which I think would be crazy. So could be cool. Raw was better. Yeah, Sean, you're not wrong. Raw was probably better. No, was better than night two main event and the middle of night one. Yes. Most of night two was actually pretty solid. But yeah, Raw was better than parts of WrestleMania, 100%.
Raw after WrestleMania, always solid show. Something they promoted definitely as well. We saw Rusev's return. We had the aforementioned spot at the end with Rollins and Breaker taking out.
Oh, and that was and the way that like they cameraed it so you didn't see him till he hit him.
Yeah, fantastic. Funny to think when Roman and CM Punk were the last two in the cage at War Games, they ended up being friends right now. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that like, someone put it best. They're like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But someone put it like, my friend?
My friend.
Yeah. Friend?
Question mark. Yeah. Also, JT, why would you do that to Roman?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Do not add. Don't do that to them.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try and make people cheer for Shaw. It's not happening. It's like trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Damn, I was supposed to make the exact same joke. Damn it!
I'm telling JT. Okay, that is a good comeback. He can't do that to Becky. Seth needs her clothes.
That's true.
All right, I like that.
But the RKO out of nowhere, fantastic.
No. That was, and they showed a clip earlier of how he came down to the ring with crew to like fake like he was checking the ring so he could hide her. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing, I still say, a Charlotte loses her confidence and falls down to come back up is a storyline that could greatly help her if she would ever.
Yeah, actually,
if WWE would go with it and she would go with it, I think with the right writer you could do.
My camera. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Not to. I think it could do her wonders. Just saying.
I agree.
You thinking like maybe where she just goes on a year-long losing streak? Maybe
she just keeps coming up short, losing. But and instead of doing that thing she does, which she didn't do with Tiffany, I'll give her that. You know, they used to joke that every time she'd lose, she'd be sitting outside on the barricade like, "Good job, kid, you got me."
Yeah.
You know, like. So if she just totally lost confidence, or something similar with what they're doing with Mercedes and Harley now, where Harley is really bringing out a lot of Mercedes character. What about like her and Chelsea or something? Like teaming her with someone who's a little more comedic, and kind of softening her up, I think could also do good things for her.
Well, adding Chelsea Green to literally anything in pro wrestling is a good
100%.
Yeah, because there's very little in wrestling that she can't make better. I don't know if you saw the clip where Penta said compliments her for their match in Lucha Underground and said, "Yeah, if she's ready, I'm ready." And she just, I think she put on Twitter, "Oh dear."
You know how Chelsea's character right now is that like she's the president and she's got her secret Hervis or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She calls Charlotte her vice president. So Charlotte's at first always like, you're in charge. Okay. But then slowly but surely she like falls in line and starts, kind of lightening up with her.
I would agree with that.
There could be stuff that could work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they dare put Becky and Charlotte together?
I get like
if you want your tag team to fight, perhaps.
Yeah.
The last time didn't work so well, but
Now, before we.
Oh, you know what? If we count Charlotte's tag partners as her divorces, then she's neck and neck with her father.
It's always bringing it up, right?
Hey, somebody else mentioned it earlier, and I didn't say a word.
No, you're not wrong. I just look like I want to attack the character, not the person in their life.
Hey, Tiffany Stratton brought it in on a promo. I guess it's fair game.
That's why I thought I could say it.
I
That's
guess.
not how that works.
Okay. I thought it was. My bad.
Anyway, there was a question earlier about thoughts on a Netflix series looking at how storylines are developed. And this whole, I forget, somebody put in the comment.
I think it was King of the Freaks.
King of the Freaks,
King
yeah.
Freak Offs. Yeah.
I'm interested, and maybe that's the history major in me because it's the side of it, but you want to call it, like I said last week, I think I said a moment warning, killing kayfabe, it's a new era. People
Kate, you're a snitch.
Okay.
Sorry.
People know, and granted, if you're telling stories like years down the road, I mean, I think Triple H said it too once on an interview, like, all these guys talk about killing kayfabe, and then they're sitting there going on podcasts and telling the back end of how these stories were made a long time ago. Like, if you're talking about the story time development process of stuff that happened like years ago, maybe nothing current, I personally don't have an issue with it. We know this is something that's creatively done. We know this is something that's developed over time. And for all we know, there are people that maybe want to get involved in the wrestling business that aren't necessarily want to get in wrestling. They want to be producers. They want to be writers. They want to go the creative end of it. Yeah, you're welcome, Kate. But I think this might be good for them if they're wanting to get in that role of it, want to see how the creative process works. I think it's an interesting story to tell.
I think also clearly they're at a place where anything that'll make them money, they'll do it.
Yeah.
And they know that's probably going to get ratings. It's probably going to get views. Netflix will love it. Because what fan doesn't want to know, like, how it, like I agree with you for the most part that kayfabe's dead. It's a different era. To me now the magic is in the performance in the ring and the fun of the character. Like, you just, yeah. So I don't have a problem with it. I will probably watch it.
I mean, think about it. When this whole run with Cena finishes this year, maybe next year we get a series or an episode about the creative process of his heel turn, all that stuff. We find out how they came up with that. So,
but I also have to ask, how much does it have to be edited? Because you remember last year when they were supposed to like bring out a video about the road to WrestleMania, and then it took like another month, and then it was like The Rock was like, "Oh, I knew what I was doing all along. I totally." Heard the fans and changed all on my own. So
yeah, I'm sure it'll be heavily edited because they're not going to reveal everything. But
no, of course
just
not.
Enough, So for sure.
So maybe they're still working us, brother.
Yeah. Tell me your thoughts.
I think, well, the argument that kayfabe is dead is kind of like, well, yes and no, because at this point, because
that's the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see. Well, here's the thing. A friend of mine, one of my best friends, the other girl's been at my wedding. You guys remember John, big guy, long beard.
Yeah.
He said it best. He said, "I never thought I'd get to a point in my life where I would meet wrestling fans who know it's staged and choreographed and admit it out loud, but still love it anyway." He said, "I never thought we'd get there. I thought, forever they would just say, no, everything about it's real, 100%, blah 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 blah." But he's like, I never thought we'd get there. And it's like, and for him, it's like he thinks it's fun because now it's not a problem to him. He always said, like, I don't mind wrestling. I just don't like the people who always say like all of it's 100% real. He said he understood the physicality was real, but he's like, undead zombie. Let's always stick with the biggest elephant in the room with that one. But so this really, I think, like you said, JC, this will just give people who maybe want to get into it more a look inside. But I think for the rest of us, it'll be like, okay, what do they do in there? Like, how does this work? And I think it might just be like something that It depends on the fan. Like, they might check it out once and that's it. Someone may get obsessed with it and be like, oh, well, or how did they come to that? How did they come to these decisions? Blah blah blah. And edited or not, it will give an interesting look into like the mindset of pro wrestlers and that. But I don't know. I feel like it could also, well, after saying all that, I feel like it also be not all it's cracked up to be. Like you said, heavily edited, heavily pulled. Like it doesn't. It won't pull back the curtain. It'll just give you a peek around it,
Right.
and then like shut it real quick, like in like your face. I'm not seeing a Wizard of Oz moment. Be like, aha, and like that. So
Okay.
Gotcha.
yeah. Now, if it's like the season finale, for some reason Vince McMahon walks in the room, I'll be like, what the hell? But what a twist! Sorry,
Right.
that's M. Night Shyamalan.
All right.
Oh,
Well-
that's why that match was so bad. It must have been a Shyamalan movie. Anything that wasn't Sixth Sense.
No, I'm trying to recall. Have they announced anything yet for Backlash yet officially? But we're pretty sure we're
Not
getting
that I've
Orton
seen.
Cena.
Not that I've
Nothing yet.
seen.
Yeah, nothing official yet. So, but that is in a few weeks away. In
And not
St.
all
Louis.
Shyamalan movies are bad, just a lot of them.
Is it
What's that?
WrestleMania Backlash St. Louis?
It's just called Backlash St. Louis.
Mike, I would
Orton's
jump
on
to
the-
the screen.
Orton's on the poster. That is his hometown. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a hell of a build up for that one as well. So, yeah. All right. On to what's going on this weekend. We can start with United 210. They have a show on Friday night at the Yard. Mike, do you have the card in front of you?
Yeah. So at the United 210 press conference that we went to, they did announce that normally what it was is gates open at 6:30, show starts at 7:30. Starting with this coming show at 7, they're going to start something called Southside Heat, which is kind of like YouTube exclusive dark matches. So obviously the people in the crowd can see them, but they're also going to be on YouTube. I think if you subscribe, I'm not 100% sure.
Unless you like the membership thing.
Right, yeah, okay. So there's 2 matches for that. One's an interesting one, but the first one is the 2 young kids who have just kind of debuted a couple of months ago, Brock Ali versus Jaden Valentino. They technically had their first match at Mamba Bash 3 a couple months ago in a cage. Well, it was a triple threat with them against K-Jax.
Okay, real quick. How bad is I want their tag team name to be just 2 young kids? That's just what I want. I wish their tag team.
Well,
name was.
their tag team in that first hybrid thing was Towboy and Merch Boy. So
True.
2 young
kids wouldn't be that crazy.
No. And then they did fight at Hybrid last time, not this last show, but the show before, and Brock Ali won that one. So they've kind of got that debuting at the same time, kind of rivalry of wanting to outshine the other. So that should be a good match. And then the other one that's really interesting is a non-title women's match, Key Vibes versus Calientita. They know each other very well. Key has beaten Callie for her hybrid title. This is non-title. And we assume some of the treats, at least J-Wave amongst others, will be at the Yard. So Key does have Dead Man's Hand on her side. Hopefully they can keep them at bay and let this be a match. But those are the 2 Southside Heat matches. As far as the main card... Oh, go ahead. What?
Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I only have 4 matches listed, and I don't think they've mentioned anything else on social media, but there is Hit versus Chase Owens, which would be a hell of a match. Hit has been in a really impressive run, had some big matches. He faced Khan at the last Yard show. He did lose, but it was also Khan. So, tag team title match, Sons of the Gulf Coast, who I told them they should just be called Sons of the Gulf of Mexico, which is Jacob Toa and Chaos Galvan versus Dead Man's Hand members Eric Walker and Jay Young in a title match. There is technically a 9-person ladder match, which is basically their version of Money in the Bank. Only 8 people have been announced. Apparently, Handsome Javi still has one that he, before he got fired, signed but wouldn't tell people. Right now, it's Jay Davis, Armani Sage, Pac Ortega, Houston Hendricks, Epidemius Jr., Danny O'Ryan, Devin Carter, and Diego Rene. All great young talent. They've been killing it all over Texas. Danny O'Ryan won the new Texas 8 tournament last month, which had people representing 8 different regions of Texas. Epi is currently the Heritage Champion, but the winner gets a briefcase, insides a contract for a title match against Casey or whoever's champ at that time. I'm going to say Casey because I believe in him.
Yep.
And then the title match is Casey Blackrose versus Gino Medina. Gino Medina is a ROW champion. If I'm not, I don't think their main one, but I think he is a champion because that belt's also being defended Sunday at Mania.
That's a good question.
But yeah, so Casey has said that Gino has been known in Texas for a while. It's a match he's wanted since he started wrestling.
Yeah,
so
no, he's the Texas champion, but their main champion is still Zilla Fatu.
Yeah. So Texas champion. So right now, those are the only 4 things I've seen. Usually another match or 2 will get added, but also maybe they're trying to end the show before 11 o'clock. We'll see what happens.
Oh, you're serious.
Sorry, Stash, if you're there. Sorry. I'm just saying. But yeah, so, not a large card at the moment, but with a ladder match at the Yard, should be crazy.
Okay. And then Sunday is RCW's RCW Mania. God, I guess this is their big show of the year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it used to be called. Their biggest show.
Texas Heat at one point.
Texas Explosion.
Texas Explosion. That's
Texas
what it was.
Explosion.
Are you sure it wasn't Texas Heat?
Texas Heat was Chuy Martinez's promotion.
Texas Heat Wrestling. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Texas. It was Texas Explosion.
Because I feel like then Texas Explosion 3 was like the first one we went to, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was Rumble Weekend 2007. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Who wrestled that shit?
The Treats were there.
LAX was there. Hernandez was there, but not
Ikaika, I'm pretty sure, was there.
Ikaika versus Andy Dalton.
Yeah, so a lot of people. Okay, so for RCW Mania, first of all, kind of historic. There are 3 women's matches on the card. They're all for titles, and all of them involve one of the former Cholas of RCW and Hybrid fame. So first off, Celine Hysteria has a ROW Women's Champions match against new ROW Women's Champion Kaya Dream. If you remember, JC, we had Kaya on last year with Maya World for MPW.
Right before their tag title defense. Yep.
Which was short-lived, and then they broke up as a team. Mm-hmm. And then Maya World with one of her many on-site rivals. But at the time, Kaya was, I think, in Florida or Georgia. She is now in Texas at Georgia. She is now in Texas at Booker School. So now she's ROW champion. So Celine Hysteria has a shot at her. Originally, RCW Phoenix champion Emmy Camacho was going to face Rumble Royale winner JL, but JL has since come under. She's been injured, so she named her replacement, and her replacement is the sensational savage Ridley Thorne. So Ridley Thorne has a chance at the RCW Phoenix Championship. And then, like we was asking about earlier, since July, RCW has had 2 women's champions, as both Cali Antita and Alejandra Quintanilla have claimed the championship with the mix. I think, we talked with Pink about that when it happened last year. Been a lot of controversy. Finally, unification match, 1 winner, 1 title. So... three women's matches on the card, all for titles. Pretty cool for them. Also, we have a handicap match, Living in Fashion, Zakai Living and Devin Carter versus Angel Camacho. They've gone back and forth. Living in Fashion cost Angel a match at the Von Erich Ranch last month or a month and a half ago. And then Angel came and attacked Living in Fashion at Hybrid, on top of also attacking the Texas Kingdom at the Yard, so we don't like the Camachos. An interesting 6-man tag. Jesse Funaki and his father, Sho Funaki, teaming with Casey Blackrose, who is the future Legends champion RCW, to take on the Texas Street, 2 of the Texas Streets, Diego Rene and David Teen, with Elder, Emo, Flamingo, Brandon Weiss. Obviously, Brandon and Casey have a heated rivalry as Brandon turned on him at the Rumble Royale. Was that at the Rumble or before that?
Is that the Rumble?
Okay, yeah.
Because Casey faced K-Jax.
Right,
Yeah. That's where Brandon turned on him.
But also some interesting storylines within this match is that Brandon Weiss and David Teen had a long-standing feud with each other, both in RCW and Hybrid. And Casey and Jesse haven't exactly had a feud, but they have had a lot of matches that Jesse has not been able to pull a victory out over Casey.
Yep.
And Casey kind of reminds him of that. So we'll see if both 6-man teams will be able, or the 3-man teams on each side will be able to work together. Armani Sage, new up-and-comer from Hybrid, open challenge. We think he sucks, but he has been winning, and he is done pretty well. But an open challenge, we know
I refuse to give him props for anything.
That's fair, but we know how dangerous that can be because anybody can answer.
Yep.
And then, like we said earlier, ROW Texas champion Gino Medina, who is facing Casey on Friday night, he's defending his Texas championship against Tempo Terrell, who Tommy knows a lot about. I have not heard about him in San Antonio in quite a while.
No, he actually left the state for a while. He moved to that state a couple years back. Can't remember exactly when. Then he popped back up in Houston at ROW almost out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But my boy's back. My boy is back.
Fun fact I found out, I hope this isn't breaking kayfabe, the high school football coach at my school coached Terrell when he was in high school.
Nice.
He stopped me one day and asked me about it because he was like, "You're into all the wrestling stuff." I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Do you know this guy?" And I was like, "I know the name." I was like, "I haven't seen him in forever, but I know it." And he's like, "Oh, I used to coach him when I was in football back in East Texas or something." So pretty cool there. And then the main event, a triple threat for the RCW championship. Relatively new champion, Rob Love, who was in RCW for 11 years, faces Chris Marvel, who has been there pretty much the entire time of RCW, and that's the one title he's never won the RCW title. And I think he said he's only had one match for it in his whole time there. So pretty crazy there.
Huh.
I want to say it was against Lance Hoyt.
I think that's what he said, if I remember in his promo. So I could be wrong, but I think it's only once he's ever actually fought for it. Mm-hmm. And then those two versus new up-and-comer who I think is not even 21 yet, Epidemius Jr., the luchador.
Dude, can you stop mentioning how young he is and how good he is already?
We still talk about the match he had with Fuego last year. And Fuego just retired himself pretty crazy over WrestleMania weekend. He lost a career match and took off his mask and left his shoes in the ring. Was pretty crazy. But yeah, so those three, triple threat, does Marvel finally get his title after all this time? Does the new young upstart start a career? Does Rob hold on to it? It's a lot going on there.
So here's the funny thing that I just realized.
What's that?
The one match I can find on Cage Match where it says Marvel had a title shot was when he faced Kazushi Miyamoto for the vacant belt and Miyamoto won. That was the very first RCW show I ever went to. So in a way, think he can kind of blame me for that. And I think it's kind of fair.
Don't give him any ideas. Jesus Christ.
He needs help to blame.
Yeah, I was like, he will blame you 100%.
Yeah, he will. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to post about that later. So.
Pretty cool couple of shows coming up this weekend.
On top of that, as you guys know, the Hybrid Experience event on May 17th has been dubbed the Hybrid Megalodon 1 event. They've already confirmed. We're able to share this now. Don Juan is been diagnosed with stomach cancer. And there is a GoFundMe going right now. I think we have shared the link on our page. Have we? I want to say you have Mike. Yeah. Right now they've raised over $4,000. The goal keeps going up. Congrats everybody, or thank you everybody who has donated for that. Right now we just set the goal at 10,000. There's 64 donations. Donate whatever you can. As somebody who is in and out of doctor's offices, blood work and everything like that, unexpected medical expenses are a pain. And it's something that he's still fighting. And I'm very happy that he's up and around. But anybody who's had family that lives with cancer knows it's a never-ending thing. It's something you're stuck with the rest of your life, whether you get into remission or not. So anything you can donate to support Chris, Don Juan, Megalodon, Christian Valens, Andromeda, however you know him wrestling, anything you can do to support, please go to the GoFundMe.
That
Link.
jackass, you call him that
Yeah,
too.
you still love him anyway. But
The annoying one.
yeah,
The one who constantly interferes with my nightmares. The bane of my existence.
Look, all I want to say is all the old ladies at Hybrid and RCW miss him. Okay, they're saying get well done, Juan. They have a lap for you to grind on when you come back. Okay.
I'm hoping he will make an appearance at the hybrid event on the 17th.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think a lot of the funds raised from that are going to go to help him and his family.
Yeah, I think they pretty much said all the proceeds are going to help.
Yeah,
him.
And to be fair, when I see him, I'm going to boo him anyway because why break type?
He wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sure.
No, because he's Dr. Doom. I Reed Richards. Some hates are just eternal.
To Chris and Felicia, keep fighting. Felicia, I don't need to tell you this. You're there for him. You're his rock. You're everything to him. Keep doing that. He appreciates every moment he has with you. And we love you, Chris, from Tina, myself, from Mike, Tommy, everyone.
Yeah, no, we love you.
Oh yeah.
And keep fighting, man. We're rooting for you. So.
Yeah. No, I said it on something I posted the other day. It's like, man, like if you don't think San Antonio wrestling owes something to Don Juan, you're just wrong.
Yeah,
you're wrong. He's been one of the most entertaining acts in the city for the past 20 years. And when he wasn't wrestling, there was something kind of missing. Not that
even when he had a hiatus, we're like, when is he coming back?
When he wasn't around, it wasn't that wrestling was bad, but there was something missing. And when he came back, you're like, that was it.
And I think Brandon from RCW posted something about when they came back from COVID or something, like that was one of the first things he wanted to do is get Don Juan back and see if he wanted to, get that bug. And obviously he did. I remember we had just started this podcast, I think, when we heard he was coming back, and we are like, oh, the Texas Treats are returning. And now what he's done for the last several years.
They got to wrestle the Von Erichs.
Yeah. Yeah. I interviewed him December of 2019. He'd been out of wrestling, got his stories. And he kind of teased, they're working something for 2020, and then COVID happened, but they were working some sort of Treats reunion going that, and they were going to try and, I forget who they said they were going to try and wrestle. I don't know if it was the Machine Guns or somebody. Anyway, that was, and then COVID happened, so we would have had it sooner had it not been for COVID, which is amazing.
Wait a minute.
What?
As soon as you said the Machine Guns, I just thought of something.
What?
Why wasn't that tag title match on WrestleMania?
So one of the ones that wasn't defended.
Change my rating. 3.25.
Oh,
all that tag team build up they didn't have like a ladder match. Change my rating. 3.25.
They're not even the current champion, so
I don't give a damn. They had this whole build up with the tag team. They had the Guns, the Prophets, the other guys.
But Tommy, then we wouldn't have had time for the 75 adverts and to point out all the cool celebs that are in the crowd. Did you know Dana White was there? Isn't that cool?
Dana White still does stuff?
Did you know there's a bunch of rappers I don't know that were there?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Because I know who Travis Scott is, but do they?
That's not even the ones. I was talking about all the ones in the crowd.
Yeah.
Travis Scott's a rapper?
What else were we talking about?
I just thought he did.
He's sure not a wrestler, so.
I just thought he was the McDonald's guy meal shit, by the way. So. What?
Sorry. I started off on a tangent. My bad.
It's okay. All right, on to quickly. I'm just going to mention TNA Rebellion because this is the second pay-per-view of the year for TNA. But this one's a pretty stacked card.
It is a stacked card.
Open challenge Elijah versus, we'll find out. Fatal Influence versus Rosemary, Zaya Brookside, and Lei Ying Lee. A Falls Count Anywhere match, Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali. That's going to be a show stealer.
Oh, yeah.
Ultimate X. Moose defending the X Division Championship against Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, Matt Cardona, El Hijo del Vikingo, which was just announced recently, by the way, and another person to be announced, which possibly could get announced this Thursday on Impact. In his first title defense for the International Championship, Steve Maclin is defending against Eric Young, who he didn't pin in the Triple Threat. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships, Ash and Heather by Elegance versus the Metaphor versus Spitfire versus Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley from NXT. Hey, they couldn't get the WWE ones. They're going to try for the TNA ones. TNA Tag Team Championship, the Hardys versus the Nemeth Brothers. Knockouts Championship, Masa Slamovich, please, dear God, beat Tessa Blanchard. And finally, the TNA Championship, Joe Hendry versus Frankie Kazarian versus Ethan Put On Some Clothes Page. So, I know we kind of run a bit long here, so we have to make some predictions here, but unless you guys want to, it's completely up to you. If there's anything,
hold on, I got something much more important than that.
What is that?
Speaking of celebrities, the only one I was okay with.
That is the only one I care because at least she likes wrestling all the time, not just WrestleMania.
For sure.
Good call, Bernsey. Good call.
Yeah.
And also, when Kate, by the way, just so you guys know, when Kate said capitalism, we had a thing at work because she would blame capitalism for literally everything. Not that she was always wrong, but I would time it throughout the day when she would bring it up.
I mean, considering we're talking about WWE, it's spot on.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Only thing I'll say about this is it's going to be a really bad look if WWE wrestlers who are in these matches win them all.
They can't. I mean, because
I don't like the fact that Fatal Influence are facing Rosemary, Zaya, and Ying Lee.
I know what you're saying, but it's also mostly NXT towns. I don't think they mind them losing as much.
I don't know. Well, it's fair. That's true.
There hasn't really been a whole lot of victory on both sides. Like if one goes to one, they don't really win there. So it'd be something new. But I'm hopeful Jay Hendry keeps the championship. I don't think Kazarian or Ethan should beat him for that.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm just going to win. I could see the Nemeth brothers beating the Hardys. They've really built up that rivalry a lot in TNA. That could be something. But what if Gigi and Tatum pull it off and win the Knockouts Tag Team Championships? Maybe that's the first other brand person that wins a TNA championship in the WWE TNA era, I should say. So, a lot to go with that. Any idea who might be the open challenge for Elijah?
Omos.
It would give them something to do.
I know.
Don't bench their wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called him back from Japan and took a tag team title off him just to not use him.
I'm gonna go on a long shot and say AJ Styles.
That'd be cool.
Maybe.
I don't know if I'd waste AJ Styles TNA on that, but maybe.
It's an idea.
I don't know. I don't know. My brain's fried on that one.
Omos.
I hope Hendry keeps the championship. That's the main thing out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Maclin's going to retain. X Division, I don't know if Moose gets out of the Ultimate X away with this. I don't know if I can see his big ass climbing up that damn thing.
It would be one way to take it off him without having to lose take a pin.
Yeah. And are they going to have to hang that thing a little bit higher because he's so damn tall?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I was gonna, they are because that's unfair based on height alone.
It's not like it was only 7 feet in the air. It was pretty high.
It was pretty high, but still, I would raise it higher because that dude has a ridiculous vertical.
So you just have to jump and grab the rope and
that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, his leaps are ridiculous. So I wouldn't be surprised if he could just jump from a standing position, just jump got it. Got it.
As far as Rebellion, it is this Sunday, April 27th at 7 p.m. Central Time from the Galen Center in Los Angeles, California. Watching it on TNA Plus pay-per-view for $40. You don't have to have a TNA Plus subscription. You can just go to the TNA Wrestling website, and there's details there on how to watch. You just pay the $40 if you want to just buy the pay-per-view by itself, or depending on your TNA Plus plan, if you have the premium one, that's included. If not, you still have to pay the $40 to watch it. So, all right. With that, we'll move into our 1 minute warning segment here. Mike, been teasing it. You ready, sir?
Yeah, and I know we're running kind of late, so I'll try not to go too long. But first of all, we kind of talked about it earlier. Putting Bayley in a story just to take her out last minute so Becky can come back. Really crappy decision, and part of it is because of the kind of person that Bayley is. And so someone also mentioned it, but if you watch the Chris Van Fleet interview, there's definitely some clips going around. making their rounds on TikTok and social media. But if you watch the whole thing, it's a really great interview. I feel like you can't help but genuinely just like her as a person and see like how much she loves wrestling and what it means to her. But it is also kind of heartbreaking because at times she talks about trying to she tries not to pay attention to what the fans say and people say about her anymore because she's been doing it so long. But then she clearly she talks about kind of like, oh, the fans don't like my finisher, but I changed it because I was a heel and dealing with injuries, so she couldn't do the hugger, also the belly to belly to everyone. But also they kept saying like, why don't you just do the elbow drop from the top rope? And she's like, because sometimes my hip falls, like my back gets out of place, and depending on how I land, it's like really painful. But also she talks about like not feeling like she's on the top level compared to the other horsewomen that she came up with, which I think is ridiculous. But she brought up good points again. She was like, I won the Rumble last year, wasn't on the press conference. I did all these things. And she basically says like she thinks, she realizes it may be because she's not the kind to go in and break down the door and make demands. She's like, but at the same time, that's just not her personality. She loves what she does. She is always trying to help other talent get over. Like she said that her idea for Damage Control was much larger, and it was going to be like her with like 5 girls behind her, including Raquel and Alba Fire, and it was going to basically be like Io was her champion. There was like 2 tag teams behind her, but still, like she wasn't going to be the one reaping all the glory of it. And it's just real hard. Like there's several moments when you watch it where you kind of see her realization, and it kind of breaks your heart. And I don't know. I hate when people like that give so much and try to do things the right way don't get the accolades because they're not the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. So I don't know. Shout out to Bayley. Forever respect. She was greatly disrespected this WrestleMania. And you know what? She said she has like a year and a half left on her contract. You know what? Afterward, Pamela wants to take a trip over to AEW and have some more matches with Mercedes. Why not? Right? WWE's buying up everything as it is. Take it while you can get it.
All right.
Yeah.
Tommy, got anything this week?
I do.
All right.
I don't know if it's just step on anyone's toes, but
Go for it.
the AAA buying thing. First of all, they had Andrade up there. He wrestled 2 matches with them, and that's because that was doing a cross promotion with AEW when he was still there. He was a CMLL guy. He was not AAA. That's disrespectful on several levels. This is also coming not even a full week after Nick Khan said, and I'm paraphrasing here, we don't sign people just to bench them. Not even 2 days later, Almost was benched. Almost a week later, we bought AAA. An entire roster of wrestlers. Where are we going to put them? What are we going to do with them? Where are we going to place these wrestlers because they basically have the ownership of TNA at this point as well, clearly. So they have all these wrestlers. We don't bench nobody. Unless they're getting another show to put them all on, yes, you are. Because, and I hate to be this broken record, before SmackDown on Friday and that press conference when they announced the AAA thing, what the hell had Andrade been doing? Where was he? Mm-hmm. And now suddenly, And I'm sorry, another reason why WrestleMania was so low for me, in my opinion, they did Rey Fenix dirty in that match. I'm sorry. That's how I felt. I look, and props to him, proud of him, and I'm sure he'll have much better WrestleMania moments in the future. I'm positive of that. But this one, I thought they did him dirty, and that's just how I feel. Yeah.
All right. I love both of those. I'm gonna try and liven the mood up just a little bit here, guys.
Sorry,
First thing I'll say, and I mentioned this earlier, if you had an issue with what Paul Heyman did during a roast, it's a roast. Anything goes, and believe me, us Latinos, we don't get offended by a whole lot of things, so I have no problem with it. And let's be honest with you, that's just the way it goes. Secondly, I'm gonna say it right now. I really hope next year at WrestleMania we get an Ultimate X match at WrestleMania. It's coming. I hope it happens. It's going to be something amazing. Just the fact that we got the TNA World Champion at WrestleMania this year was amazing. Speaking of which, though, as was front and center in the middle of the ring both nights of WrestleMania, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, brand new video game, comes out this week. It's the one I mentioned on the demo. I showed you guys a video on here about Cristiano Ronaldo being included in it. And if you guys don't recall, that DJ they introduced at the opening of night one, he's also a character in the game, a little bit of a crossover. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because Joe Hendry put out a TikTok saying, hey, I've wanted to know what video games you want me to appear in. He's going to be appearing in one pretty soon, which is some mobile game, I'm pretty sure. But let me put it in this way. SNK, Joe Hendry, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. I would love you to be in that game because I'm going to be playing it. I'm buying it this week. Would love to see it. That would be a great fit. We've already got a wrestler and T-Zock on there. Why not bring Joe Hendry in there as well? I think it would be just right after he hits like his big super, he just turns to the camera and just looks.
That
would be
fantastic.
Perfect for a fighting game. There's DLC coming out there, some not announced. You could have them as part of season 2, but let's put it out there. SNK, Joe Hendry, let's make it happen. Let's see you in Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. If we're getting real life people in there like Cristiano Ronaldo, why not get the TNA World Champion? So let's see it. My son might want to play the game too if that happens.
Oh, yeah, you know he is.
Yes.
One other quick thing before we go, and this goes back to, I think I put this in one of the chats. How come El Grande Americano got a mariachi band playing America the Beautiful mariachi, and Ray Phoenix got generic rock theme number 3 from SmackDown versus Raw 2007? What was that? Def Rebel, is their contract not done yet? All right, I'm sorry. That's it.
I can't wait till it's done. I am soccer their shit. I really miss CFO for sure. So
100%. CFO, that's what it was called.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of that the other day and I couldn't remember.
Fantastic themes, and Def Rebel's has been bleh. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us as we talked about everything that happened WrestleMania weekend. This weekend, what's coming up? United 210, Friday, April 25th, 7 p.m. Central Time. Gates at 6:30 still, Mike, at the Yard in San Antonio? Yep.
And the pre-show starts at 7. That's Southside Heat.
Okay. RCW's RCW Mania, Sunday, April 27th, 5 p.m. Central Time, doors at 4. Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, and is going to be on Title Match Network. And then TNA Rebellion is also on Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time from the Galen Center in Los Angeles, California. You can watch it on TNA Plus pay-per-view for $40. Next week, we'll recap those events and also talk about ROH Supercard of Honor. Yeah, that's happening next weekend, guys. So, gonna mention that a bit too, which is Battle of Flowers, etc. It's weird that it's in May this year, but Easter.
Wait.
So
I thought Supercard got postponed till later. Am I thinking?
Did they push it back? Did I miss it?
Did something get sent till September or?
The date I had was May 2nd. So
no, maybe there was another.
I think they did just recently push it back.
Oh, so that's recently announcement. Okay, so they'll probably just recap everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So they moved it back to July 11th.
Oh, okay. One of them got moved to July during the time they're in Texas.
Yeah, because okay. So real quick before we go, they canceled the taping for Collision on a Saturday in May, and I haven't even gone to the comments yet because I don't want to see that. But the original thinking, and I haven't checked it, no one said yet, is like they think the schedule ran afoul with like NBA, NHL stuff going on right now. So they think that someone made a scheduling mistake, and so they have to cancel the things and move them around. So that's what's happening right now.
All right, makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, then we're just going to recap everything we talked about this week. That's basically what we're going to do next week. So
yep.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. JT mentioned Gunther. Yeah, we'll see where they go from there. So
No. If he wants to beat up Pat McAfee, again, I'm down for it.
That's funny.
Done with that guy. He needs a hiatus. I need him gone like I needed Jericho gone at this point. So.
Damn.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us over here. We got Tommy. Every night.
Yes, we get to each other.
And I'm JC. As always, heels and baby faces. Remember, pro wrestling is real.
People
are
fake.
fake. Boom.
Let's go, Avalanche. Let's go.
Adios, Gunther.
May the power protect you.
Na 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 na.